And we're go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vancouver Pony Expo 2022 Voice Actor Script Reading. And I am your host, Aphinity. I am over here in the corner. Joined next to me are the people that you care about a lot more than me. We're very happy to welcome. Unfortunately, we weren't able to, of course, welcome everyone in person today, but we were able to welcome some amazing people in our midst that are going to give us a little bit of a performance and otherwise just grace us with their amazing faces today. So first of all, I'd like to introduce the voice of Thorax. This is Mr. Kyle Rideout. Hi, Kyle.
How's it going?
Next,
Excited to be here.
We're glad to have you here. Next to him, we have the beautiful and talented, the voice of Ocellus. We have Devin Dalton.
Hello.
And I hope I'm saying all your names right. I'm terrible with that, but I apologize.
Yeah.
And next to her, of course, not to be excluded whatsoever, is the Princess of Love herself, Princess Cadence voice actor. This is Britt McKillop.
Hello.
And joining us remotely, as much as she wishes she could be here, the amazingly talented voice of Twilight Sparkle's singing voice, as well as Sunset Shimmer. We have Rebecca Schroiket. And there she is. And are you muted, Rebecca? Just making sure your mic's still working.
No, I'm just trying not to clap too loud. Hi, everyone. I'm playing the mute today.
Really glad to have you here, and we're really excited to have you all here. So thank you very much for tuning in. So what we have in plan for you today is something that we've always enjoyed as a fandom, is just getting to enjoy the amazingness that is the talent of the people at this table. You have obviously all given us some incredible voices over the years, and we've all really enjoyed it. So I guess I wanted to just introduce sort of the idea of, because I mean, obviously all of you are actors, you're performers. I mean, in your case, Kyle, you're a director, you're a writer, and I know a lot of you do a lot of different things. But why don't you just quickly give us a quick intro to who is Kyle Rideout?
Yeah, I'm from Vancouver, and I went to school, Studio 58, and started in the theater world, actually, and did a lot of plays and Shakespeare at Bard on the Beach. And then I really wanted to get into voice acting, and some of my friends were on some of the shows, and so that's when I started really trying to get onto voice acting. And then yeah, it's been really fun.
And kind of just went from there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Would you say that, like, what's your primary focus these days?
I mean, voice acting is like a dream job. I feel like it's so much fun. I mean, it's so different than being on a film set where you're there for like 14 hours, and voiceover, you just show up and you get to be with all these great performers, and there's ad-libbing, and you get to go through these great scripts. So yeah, it's voice acting is a dream job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool, and I know that's reflected by, I'm sure, your colleagues as well. Devin, I know that you have you've done a number of different things in your career as well. So like, what's the introduction to you that we could give to people?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I started with dance. That's how I first started, was dance and theater at a young age, and doing live theater. I was in Alberta at the time. And then I came over to BC when I was a teenager and started doing film work. And then I really only got into voiceover as an adult. It's probably been maybe about 6 years. But just got into it from doing acting. And then I also do stunt work. I do that as well. So I kind of dabble wherever I can get my fingers in the business.
I can't wait. I want to hear more about the stunt
so
work.
cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to know some of the stunts you've done, Devin.
Okay. Sounds good.
You know what? We'll get into the stunt stuff. Actually, Rebecca and Devin are actually going to be joining us tomorrow for a Q&A,
Yeah.
so we can actually really dive deep into that tomorrow. But thank you very much.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Devin. So on the far end there, Britt, how would you introduce yourself, your career, to other people?
Oh, this is so much pressure. I don't know how to introduce myself. I'm born and raised in Vancouver. I sort of honestly accidentally fell into acting when my sister and I were 2 and 4. We had a babysitter who was like, "Oh, said to my mom, give me my agent's number and you should get them into acting." And so we did, and then again sort of accidentally fell into voice acting when I was maybe 7 or 8, and realized I loved it because I could show up in my pajamas. And the people are so great, like you said. It's like just hilarious. Those sessions are so entertaining, and I love to be a part of them. So I also grew up with lots of music in my house. My mom's a songwriter, my dad's a record producer, and my sister and I have a band together. So yeah, very musical family. I grew up in musical theater, so yeah, that's pretty much my story.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I think a lot of people find their way through acting and then into different facets of that art. So
yeah, for sure.
Really great how it covers the gamut. And Rebecca, of course, how would people be introduced to yourself?
My backstory is so similar to all three, except that I don't do stunts. But I grew up doing musical theater as well. I was born in Victoria and then went to school in Toronto for musical theater. And I think that the musical theater actors do really well in voiceover because we've got a sense of musicality and a sense of pacing that, like when you're on a stage, that you have to have this rapid fire kind of situation. But I've actually worked with Britt's dad as a record producer. I've done some Bee Gees singing on some country albums that Britt's dad produced, so I've had the pleasure of working with Tom.
Wow, it's a small world. That's really cool.
It is a small world. It is, yeah. But more about me later. Whatever. Let's get to the juicy script. Let's act. I'm so excited to act today.
I'm really looking forward to it. I know I'm not the only one. So I'll be the MC today. So I'll be introducing the scenes and expressing, just sort of going through the dialogue, because obviously these were meant to be performed, and we're not doing that. We're performing vocally. So I'll be doing sort of a radio show style event. We will all be. And the goal here is that we're going to be kind of switching it up here and there, and I have asked each of our very talented people here to choose which characters they would like to play. We're going to be focusing on our theme this year, which this year is, of course, detectives and noir. So we picked 2 movies that we thought fit those really well, which was Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Clue. So we're going to be performing some scenes from them. They are very slightly modified, but not by a dramatic amount, just enough to keep it smooth, at least we're hoping. And we'll see how this goes, but that's the plan. So our first scene is involving, let's see, we have 7 characters, so we're going to need a couple people to take on a few of them. The last few are very, very simple parts. The last 3 are actually pretty simple, so maybe one person could take those, or a couple of you. Who wanted to play Valiant? Wants to take that one?
I think it's you.
You want to do it, Kyle?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to play Valiant.
All right, so we got Valiant. We also have the old man. Who wants to be the old man?
That's the one I really wanted, was the old man.
Well, why don't you be the old man then?
Yeah.
And
Sure.
keep in mind that, like, obviously gender non-specific, these characters. So
You can totally act opposite yourself, Kyle.
It's always so hard in sessions when that happens.
Yeah, right.
I can only imagine. Okay, well, why don't we put you on old man then, Kyle? Who wants to be Valiant? It can be. I'm looking at either Britt or Devin.
I can be Valiant. It's cool.
You want to be You want to do both?
No, I can do Valiant. Someone else can be Old Man.
Okay, who's old man?
I could do Old Man, but it's not going to be good.
Oh, it'll be great. It'll be fantastic. No.
Can't wait to do it. I can do
All
it.
right. So Britt's gonna be. Oh, I didn't give you pens. I am so sorry. Can someone
is
please get us
Rebecca
some
Jessica?
pens from the front desk?
Yes,
right?
she is.
I'm looking at
Jessica.
Jason. Would you be able to get us some pens from the front desk, please? Thank you.
I want to be Jessica.
I think you will be Jessica. All right.
I put on red lipstick just to be Jessica.
All right. So we've got Rebecca being Jessica. We have Kyle being old man. We have.
Valiant. I'll be Valiant.
You're gonna be Valiant. Pardon me. And we're gonna have Britt being old man. Who wants to be Betty Boop?
Me.
All right. Devin will be Betty Boop. And why don't we also throw you as the penguin? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. And Gorilla, you wanted to be Gorilla. Who wanted to be Gorilla?
I think
I
it was
want to be the
Rebecca,
gorilla.
yeah.
Rebecca wanted to be Gorilla. Okay. And that just leaves Droopy. Who wants to be Droopy? Want to be Droopy?
I can do Droopy, sure.
Okay. Or it could just
I
be
want to
any-
hear Kyle's droopy.
Okay.
Now I don't know these characters actually, so it's going to be my own
All right,
version.
so-
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say for me as well. I haven't
And
Like I-
so it's gonna be interesting.
I saw it a long time ago, and of course, you always see the characters, but then I'm like, oh, how do they actually sound? I don't remember.
I
You
have
don't-
clips and that's it. So this will be interesting.
Yeah.
And to be clear, this is meant to be your interpretation. It could
Okay.
be totally your character.
Excellent.
Absolutely no need to be this character. You can be yours. You can be someone else's. It can be any character you want if you want to do an impression. This is really up to
Awesome.
you. And I apologize for not having these in advance. I forgot about the
My
pens.
family does movie night every week, and we randomly picked Who Framed Roger Rabbit this
That's-
week. So
that's
that really
cool.
worked out.
Instinctually.
It was instinctual. Yeah.
So we're introducing the scene here. So for those who don't know the movie, this is the scene where Eddie Valiant, the detective Eddie Valiant, is entering a what's called the Ink and Paint Club, which is a kind of alleyway entrance, backdoor style cabaret. And he's about to jump in there and find out what this is all about, not knowing anything about this place he's about to walk into. So we'll start things off here. And we'll start off with the scene here. Valiant knocks on the door of a nondescript building in a rundown factory area. A speakeasy-style peephole slides open, revealing the face of a toon gorilla. Valiant offers the password.
Walt sent me.
The peephole slides closed, and after a beat, the door swings open. Interior club. The gorilla, dressed in a tux, gives Valiant the once-over. Valiant resents the assessment.
Nice monkey suit.
We follow Valiant down the hall towards the main room. You can hear laughter and zany music from within, because that's a genre of music, apparently. Interior club. Valiant spots an empty table off to the side and makes his way towards it. A silly old man is in a loud suit and at the next table. The old man nods to him somberly as Valiant pulls out the chair and sits down. A loud flatulent sound erupts under Valiant. The old man slaps his thigh with the hilarity of it all.
Will you listen to that? It's a pip. I'm thinking of calling it a whoopee cushion.
Valiant reaches under himself and comes up holding a deflated rubber bladder. The old man retrieves it from him.
No hard feelings, I hope. Put her there.
The old man grabs Valiant's hand before he can say no. He can hear a buzz. Valiant retracts his hand as if shocked. The old man howls with laughter and turns his palm to Eddie.
Hand buzzer.
Valiant
Real
rolls.
gasser.
Valiant rolls his eyes and grabs a penguin as it slides by.
Cider.
There's a 2-drink minimum.
Just as long as there's no maximum.
Waiter, I'll sign my check now.
The penguin pulls a bill out of the old man's table and picks and zips off. The old man takes a fountain pen out of his jacket and writes on the bill, but there doesn't seem to be any ink coming out of it. He shakes and shakes in the pen to get it flowing. It flows all right. Ink splatters all over Valiant's shirt and pants. Valiant looks down at the stain, doing a slow burn. The old man starts laughing. Valiant jumps up and grabs him by the lapels.
Hey, that's it for you, Pops.
Oh, calm down, son. Look, the ink is gone.
Valiant looks down at his shirt and the stain is gone.
See, it disappears.
Well, why don't you make like the ink?
Valiant drops him into his chair and returns to his seat. The penguin glides up with his drinks. Valiant swallows the first one and with one quick jerk of the head. Valiant watches the antics of the onstage performance. From behind, Valiant can hear a familiar high-pitched voice.
Cigars, cigarettes, Eddie.
Valiant turns to see Betty Boop standing with a box of tobacco wares strapped around her neck. In contrast to all the other tunes, Betty is in black and white.
Gee, it's swell to see you, Eddie. We miss you in Toontown.
Wish I could say the same. What are you doing here, Betty?
Work's been slow for me since the cartoons went to color. But I still got it, Eddie. Boo-doo-boo-boo, be-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, you still got it, Betty. Hey, who's Mr. Jocularity?
That's Marvin Acme, the gay king.
Yeah, should have guessed.
He comes here every night to see Jessica Rabbit.
Got a thing for rabbits, huh?
Sounds like you never seen her, Eddie.
Now the lights dim and Betty moves on. On stage, Droopy walks out with the spotlight following him. He's the evening's MC.
Yeah, hello, everybody. I hope you're all having as much fun as I am. I have a small announcement to make. Jessica Rabbit will not be able to sing tonight.
There's a roar of disapproval from the crowd. They shower him with debris.
I was merely jesting. Without further ado, here's Woman Times 2, Toontown's own, Shelton the, how do you say, Par Excellence, Jessica Rabbit.
This is not quite the bunny he expected Roger to be married to. His jaw drops, and his reaction is mirrored all around the room. Close up, Jessica, as she walks up to the mic.
You had plenty money back in 22. You let other women make a fool of you. Why don't you do right like some other men do? You're sitting around wondering what it's all about. You ain't got no money, they will put you out. Why don't you do right like some other men do? Get out of here and give me some money too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job.
So good.
I could just see her right here, just standing here, performing.
Yeah.
And scene. So,
Oh, that was
thank you. That was fantastic. All right, so we'll move right into the next one, I guess. The next one is we're going to change up, and we're going to go to Clue for this one. So Clue is it's exactly like it sounds. If you've ever played the game Clue, this was a movie based around the similar characters. It's a bit of whodunit. Nobody quite knows exactly what's happening. And so that's kind of the scene. So we're all in a large mansion, and we're all together, and we've all been locked in this mansion together. For some reason, we all received a mysterious letter, and nobody knows what that letter came from. So we're all here sort of talking about that. So there's a number of characters here: Mr. Body, Wadsworth, Miss White, Miss Scarlet, Professor Plum, Mrs. Peacock, Colonel Mustard, and Mr. Green. The final characters are a little bit lower in line count, so those would probably be combined. You should probably take 2 each, I'm guessing. So who would like to take any particular ones? We'll just yell it out.
I'll be Mrs. Peacock.
All right.
And what else? Maybe a guy. Nice.
Okay. So we've still got Mr. Body and Wadsworth, pardon me. They're kind of the main characters in these scenes.
I know, me either. I'm like, who's Mr. Body?
I know.
It's quite good dialogue.
Like, is Mr. Body the body?
Mr. Body is the butler. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I had that wrong. Wadsworth is the butler. Mr. Body
Wadsworth
is
is the butler.
Yeah, Wadsworth is the butler. Pardon me. Mr. Body is.
I'll be Wadsworth this time round.
Okay, all right,
Nice.
Rebecca. All right, and we still have Mrs. White, Miss Scarlet, and Professor Plum, and Mr. Green.
I'll call Miss Scarlet.
Okay,
I'll be Mrs. White as well.
okay.
I'll be Mr. Green or Professor Plum, whichever one.
Mr. Green and Professor Plum, you want to be all them?
Sure, whatever.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay,
So-
I guess I'm Mr. Body then.
I guess you are.
This mysterious Mr. Body. Who is he? I'm Mr. Body and Mrs. Peacock.
Yeah, that's about right. There's a lot of back and forth in these, so.
Okay.
All right, so just one. Okay, it's Mr. Body. We've got Devin. Wadsworth is Rebecca. Mrs. White is Rebecca. Miss Scarlet is Britt. Professor Plum is Kyle. Mrs. Peacock is Devin. Colonel Mustard is Kyle, and Mr. Green is Kyle. All right, so that's what we got.
Okay, just tell me if I'm missing the character.
Yeah, so we're going to be starting. No problem. We're going to be starting in scene 35. So we're going to be interior, the study. Everyone is sitting. Yvette, who by the way is not in here, who is waiting there, sees that they will have refills of coffee and starts to hand brandies around. Brandies are silently accepted by Colonel Mustard, Professor Plum, and Miss Scarlet. Wadsworth stands in front of the crackling log fire and consults the contents of the envelope, which he opened in scene 29. That is Wadsworth starting things off.
Wait a second. I have a different script.
I know.
Oh, Do you
Did
have?
it get truncated since last night?
No, it's the same one. If it's the PDF.
They did start on 35.
Yeah, we're starting on 35. 35. Yeah. Sorry, these scripts
You
were
can't get
difficult to find.
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
Oh, jeez. That's stressing me out. Okay, starting on page
We're-
35.
No, 27, but on scene 35.
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay, got it. Oh, got it. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have one thing in common. You are all being blackmailed.
They all glance nervously at each other.
For some considerable time, all of you have been paying what you can afford, and in some cases, more than you can afford, to someone who threatens to expose you. And none of you know who's blackmailing you, do you? I've never heard... Sorry.
Oh.
Miss Peacock.
I'm like, wait, what? Oh, I've never heard of anything so ridiculous. Nobody could blackmail me. My life's an open book. I've never done anything wrong.
They all look at her.
Anybody else wish to deny it?
No one replies. They are watchful and waiting.
Very well. As everyone here is in the same boat, there is no harm in my revealing some details, and my instructions are to do so.
He looks through some typewritten papers that were in the brown envelope. He nods to Yvette to leave the room. They watch her go. The door closes behind her.
Don't you think that you might spare us this humiliation?
I'm sorry, Professor Plum. You were once a professor of psychiatry, specializing in helping paranoid and homicidal lunatics suffering from delusions of grandeur.
Yes, but now I work at the United Nations.
So your work has not changed, but you don't practice medicine at the UN. His license to practice has been lifted, correct?
Miss Scarlet is very interested in this revelation.
Why? What did he do?
You know what doctors aren't allowed to do with their lady patients?
Yes.
Well, you did.
Miss Scarlet looks at him with a smile. Miss Peacock with disgust.
How disgusting.
Wadsworth turns to Miss Peacock, clearly talking about, not taking her coat when she came into the room. That was clearly what they're speaking about.
Are you making moral judgments, Mrs. Peacock? How then do you justify taking bribes in return for delivering your husband, Senator Peacock's vote to certain lobbyists?
My husband's a paid consultant. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not if it's publicly declared, but if the payment is delivered by slipping used greenbacks in plain envelopes under the door of the men's room, how would you describe that transaction?
I'd say it stank.
How would you know? You've never been in the men's room.
Oh, so it's true.
No, it's a vicious lie.
Colonel Mustard is listening with pleasure.
I'm sure we are all glad to hear that. But you've been paying blackmail for over a year now to keep this story out of the papers.
I'm willing to believe you. I'm also being blackmailed for something I didn't do.
Me too. And me.
But not me.
Wadsworth is surprised.
You're not being blackmailed?
Oh, I'm being blackmailed, all right. But I did what I'm being blackmailed for.
They all look at her, stunned by this open admission of guilt.
What did you do?
Well, to be perfectly frank, I run a specialized hotel and a telephone service which provides gentlemen with the company of puppies for a short while.
Professor Plum takes out a notepad and pencil. He is interested in this puppy business.
Oh, yeah. What's the phone number?
Miss Peacock is appalled.
Men!
She stares at Professor Plum, disgust written all over her face, but Mr. Green is thinking.
So how did you know that Colonel Mustard works in Washington? Is he one of your clients? Certainly not.
He stands and walks over to the window.
I was asking Miss Scarlet.
Colonel Mustard turns on Miss Scarlet. The dialogue is going very fast.
Tell them it's not true.
It's not true.
Is that true?
No, that's not true.
Aha! So it is true.
Double negative.
A double. Wait, what? A double negative. You mean you have photographs?
Miss Scarlet nods.
That sounds like a confession to me. In fact, the double negative has led to proof positive. I'm afraid you gave yourself away, sir.
Are you trying to make me look stupid in front of the other guests?
You don't need any help from me, sir.
But seriously, I don't see what's so terrible about Colonel Mustard visiting a house of ill fame. Most soldiers do, don't they?
Professor Plum puts his hand on her knee. She removes it. Reluctantly, he moves away. Wadsworth refers to his notes, the ones which came out of the brown envelope, which are still in his hand.
But he holds a sensitive security post in the Pentagon. And, Colonel, you drive a very expensive car for someone who lives on a colonel's pay.
I don't. I came into money during the war when I lost my parents.
You lost them? Did you report the loss to the police?
No. Dying is perfectly legal.
Sometimes, yes. Mrs. White, you have been paying our friend the blackmailer ever since your husband died. Shall we say, mysterious circumstances?
Miss Scarlet laughs. Mrs. White turns to her.
What's so funny?
I see. That's why he's lying on his back in his coffin.
I didn't kill him.
Then why are you paying the blackmailer?
I don't want a scandal. We'd had a fight. He was crazy. He hated me. He'd threatened to kill me in public.
Why would he want to kill you in public?
I think that he had threatened to, in public, to kill her.
And was that his final word on the matter?
Being killed is pretty final, wouldn't you say?
And yet he was the one who died. Not you, Mrs. White. Not you.
What did he do for a living?
He was a scientist, nuclear physics.
What was he like?
He was always a stupidly optimistic man. I'm afraid it came as a great shock to him when he died. He was found dead at home. His head had been cut off, and it had his,
She can't say it, but she gestures vaguely in the direction of his hand. The men look at her in horror, and their hands go instinctively to cover their other hand.
I'd been out all evening at the movies.
Huh, what was showing?
From here to eternity.
How very appropriate.
Do you miss him?
It's a matter of life after death. He's dead. Now I have a life.
But he was your second husband. Your first also disappeared.
That was his job. He was an illusionist.
But he never reappeared?
He wasn't a very good illusionist.
Miss Green coughs discreetly. Everyone looks at him. He stands up, licks his lips nervously. He is trying to find the courage to speak openly.
I have something to say. I'm not going to wait for Wadsworth here to unmask me. I work for the State Department.
All right, and we're going to leave it right there, and we'll call that scene. So, thank you guys. That was a little longer in the tooth than I think it felt like it might be. So, but
It's a lot
it
of
was
characters to cover.
It is. It is one of those scenes that if you don't know the pace of it, it can be very difficult to go forward with it. And so, anyways, I thought it was enjoyable. You guys did a great job with the characters for sure. So I'm just going to take a quick little break from our script reading. We're going to do a little bit, maybe some Q&A for the two of you who are not going to be here tomorrow. So Britt and Kyle, I just figured I'd because I know a lot of people like to know the different aspects of what you do and what you've done in the past. So also I am paying attention to main stage chat. So if there are any questions that people have burning in their minds for either of these two amazing people, we will be doing a Q&A with Rebecca and Devin tomorrow. So we'll be focusing today on Kyle and Britt. So, and I see people are posting things about Colonel Mustard in here. So, actually, I just wanted to touch on the great connection that I was actually hearing when you first got here about how Kyle, you and Devin were actually working together on one particular episode anyway. And that was where you both got to meet each other, from what I recall, or it was the introduction, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We're talking about the first time that we recorded together. The first time your character came on the show, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the first episode that the Young Six are introduced.
Yeah.
And Ocellus is very shy at this point and just going to school, and you're dropping me off, and yeah.
And then we had, what did we have, like 15 people or something? They had to record it in chunks because there were so many characters on that episode.
Yeah, it was fun because we were all kind of in there together. So it was a good introduction for sure.
Yeah.
For me at least, welcoming to the show. It was awesome.
Was it nerve-wracking coming into that room of like 15 other people that have done the show for a while?
It was a little bit, but in like the most exciting way. Because everyone was so welcoming and friendly and fun, and you kind of bounce off each other, so you feel comfortable right away. But definitely, I was like, okay, wow, because I know the voice actors in town and could see all the familiar faces and voices. Like I'd done just one thing before this. Actually, it was just a Barbie movie, so I was still like, this was like kind of my first like series, so to speak. So yeah, no, it was a little nerve-wracking at first, but everyone's so lovely that we felt at home soon, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
How did you get to be involved? Since we're talking about you on this one, like, how did you get to be involved with the show in the first place? Thinking about My Little Pony Friendship.
Well, I just auditioned. I had auditioned for a few characters along the way, and then Thorax. I auditioned. I remember I was traveling when I was auditioning, and I was up at my mom's place in Okanagan, and I was in her quilt room. She has this quilt room of like all these quilts, which is perfect to record in. So anyways, I did the audition and sent it in and got on the show. So it was kind of as simple as that. In a quilt room.
In the quilts.
I think it's the quilts. It's a really good sound. Rebecca, do you have quilts back there?
I have no quilts in the basement just yet, but I have a lot of foam in my homemade booth.
Ooh.
That's a bit of a trick, actually,
It's
when
like
you're trying to...
It's like a tree fort.
Sounds awesome. That's a bit of a trick, though. Like when you're doing voice recording and things like that, it's a lot of people will actually go into their closets to actually do recordings.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like, with all the
clothes.
Yeah, the soft fabric really absorbs sound, so that's really cool. Well, that's awesome. So, Britt, where did you make your start with the show? Like, what was your start with it?
Another kind of simple, boring story of like just auditioning. Like I went in, and I'm trying to remember because I think I had to sing because they knew my character was going to sing, and I can't remember if they had everyone sing this song or if it was just my choice. But I'm pretty sure I sang a Disney song, like a Disney princess song, because I thought it was kind of fitting, and it worked. It worked out. So yeah, I just sort of channeled all my princess energy, and like, I grew up watching the Disney princesses, and I was a big fan of Disney princesses. So I was like, I'm going to do my best Disney princess voice. And, that's what I did.
Awesome. Well, you really nailed the obviously the what's it called? The Longest Wedding? Am I getting this wrong? The wedding episode with the song. Yes. It was so great.
So fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it was so fun, and it's so fun getting to sing on animation shows, because it doesn't happen very often. Like at least not for me, it doesn't come around very often where I get to sing and act. So that's always a treat when you get to do that. So
what was that like working with? Obviously, you worked with the whole team over there, like Daniel Ingram and various other.
It's nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking for sure, and I just didn't feel like qualified to be, because they're genius and so talented, and I feel like I grew up just like teaching myself to play guitar, and like not really, I'm not like classically trained or anything like that, so it's nerve-wracking, but so fun. Like everyone is so nice. Like you said, it's a really welcoming environment, and I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I have some social anxiety, so I get a little nervous before sessions, and it's like every time I do a session, I'm like, I don't know why I was nervous. Everybody is so kind and hilarious and just salt of the earth people. So it's really nice to be around. I'm not speaking into my microphone.
That's okay. We should have had stands, anyways. But no, that's awesome. It's really, yeah, I know we need to bring the stands. It's really good to just to see like how people get their start on this, because like I mean obviously to us we're fans and we look at this and it's like, well, how do these amazing people get to be involved in this thing that we all love? And it's amazing how simple and humble the starting can be at times. You know, it's like you said, you auditioned, you got the part.
Yeah, that's sometimes, and you'll go on so many auditions and none of them work out, and like that's usually the story for most people. You go on a ton of auditions and then you might get one, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe even years into it. So, yeah.
Oh, for sure. So are you still acting these days? Are you still doing?
Yeah, it's a little different these days, like post-COVID, you know, everything is self-tape and you know, recording from home and stuff, so it's different, but I mean, I think everyone's finding their groove and yeah, so it's nice. I actually really like that I get to do everything from home.
Yeah.
You can still wear your PJs.
Exactly. It's like, it's my jam. I love it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hope it stays like that, at least for that, you know, part of it.
No, that makes sense. That's awesome. Yeah, it's not everyone can say that about their profession, where it does transition very well to a virtual situation.
Yeah.
I know, Kyle, for example, you're involved with a number of things outside of just acting. Like you're a writer, you're a director. I understand you just recently did a Netflix series that's in the U.S., from what I understand.
No, I didn't.
Oh! Did I mishear you on that one?
No, I just had I did a feature film called Adventures in Public School. It stars Judy Greer, Russell Peters, and it's on Netflix in the U.S. and it's on Crave and CBC Gem in Canada.
Oh, cool! That's awesome. So, like, what was your involvement with it? You were.
I was writer and director on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I understand you've had some awards for your directing and writing as well, and.
Yeah. Then my previous film, Edward, I think was up for. Yeah, it was up for around 50 awards and nominations at festivals. Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I say that word a lot, but I mean that one. That's really cool. Well, that's awesome. So, and I know you've got a number of projects that you can't talk about, but lots coming.
Yeah, there's another film that's going to be that is not announced yet. That's going to be shooting later this year. Okay. So that's exciting.
No, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. I'm going to stop saying awesome. Britt,
it's a good word.
Yeah, it is a good word.
You could say 20% cooler.
I could say 20% cooler, and it is, in fact. Britt, of course, you made your start. A lot of us will remember you from a particular movie, anyway. I know when I saw Trick or Treat, I was very surprised to hear that you were in that one as well.
Yeah. That was, oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a long time ago. But yeah, I guess I was in middle school or high school or something at the time, and yeah, it was a great film to be part of.
Very cool.
Some pretty incredible actors to learn from on that set. So
definitely. Yeah. If you wouldn't mind just picking up the mic too, just.
I'm sorry.
No,
God.
that's okay. No problem.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah, doing the stream, unfortunately, so we do have to do the mic thing. But yeah, no, that was. It's funny because when I first saw your bio and I saw that you were part of that, it's like, wait a minute, who was she? So who were you in the film? You were one of the trick or treaters.
I was one of the kids. Macy, I think was my name. Macy, yeah, or Macy, yeah. So just like the group of kids that went around trick or treating and turned out to be bullies to one kid in particular, and ended up paying the ultimate price.
Mm-hmm. As many did in that movie.
Yeah, you can't be a bully and survive a horror film.
Be a bully. Don't be a bully.
That's the lesson.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, well, so, we had a couple questions just from the audience, just for the two of you in particular. One of which was, do you have any, if you can even remember them at this point, any favorite lines from MLP that either you gave or that you might have heard? I know it was a while ago for everyone, so.
Oh, gosh, favorite lines. I don't have a favorite, but I I have like one that sticks out in my mind all the time. It's just like the one that I keep going back to that I remember. It's the sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs awake. Clap your hooves and do a little shake. So that's the one I always remember and refer to.
That's always a fun one.
Yeah, I can't think of a line, but I think before going into the session, I always would say my name. I think I was always going, Thorax. Thorax.
Get you
I
into
don't know
character.
why saying my own name in the voice. So
You were like conjuring it in yourself within
yeah,
yourself.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Thorax. Be Thorax.
Ah. Ooh.
We have a question for Britt on this one on Baby Looney Tunes, which I understand you were part of. How did it feel to have your voice alongside the late Jane Foray?
Is that the grandma? The granny?
I actually don't know. This was a question from
Oh
the
my
audience.
God, this is terrible. I think that's what they're talking about. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed right now.
No, it's okay.
I think they're talking about the woman who played the grandma.
That would,
I think
that
the
would seem to
grandmother.
fit. Yes.
Oh gosh, Britt. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, you guys. But I didn't actually work with her. She patched in from LA. I think.
Got it.
So
Ma-
yeah, but
ma-
everyone else was great.
Yeah, for sure. Could you explain how that works when you do that kind of thing? Like,
Well, to be honest, I mean, I was like a very small child when I did that series, but I think it's that they record her or they recorded her either before or after the fact, after our session. So we, as a group, would go to the studio in Vancouver, do our bits, and then they would record her after, I think. So, and then there was Sam Vincent, one actor in particular who played pretty much every character on the show. So yeah, he like occupied I think 3 characters on that show. So yeah.
wow.
Yeah, some talent.
That's neat, though, especially when people have that kind of talent. You have the, who is the famous Chuck? No. The guy who did Bugs Bunny. What was his name?
Is that
Mel Blanc.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like incredibly talented, does so many characters. And yeah.
I know. I can't relate to people who are able to do that kind of range. It's insane, and that's why, like, as someone like me who sits in those sessions, I'm just like, how do you do that? That's so amazing.
Oh, you're no slouch yourself. You've done a
thank
number
you.
of characters. Well, that's awesome. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Any fun convention stories that? How many conventions have you been to? Actually, why don't we start with that? Have you been to conventions before? I mean, obviously, Britt, I've seen you at least I think it was Everfree. I saw you at.
Yeah, I've been to a few.
Yep,
They've all
okay.
been so fun. I had a particularly nice time in Seattle. Oh God, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I can hear Britt. I don't know if everybody else can, but when she puts her mic down, I can hear her.
Okay. Well, if it's easier for you.
Oh, thanks, Rebecca.
I know our sound people are doing their best. So
Yeah, I had a great time in Seattle. That was like a really fun one, but like very big, intense, a lot of people. But yeah, just a lot of fun, a lot of great guests there, and just people. Everyone was so fun.
super fun.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just really getting that chance to meet people like individually is really fun. And seeing some of the, people's costumes that they bring, and they have, different stuffies or like artwork that they've brought, and like it's pretty cool to see, kind of that, at every convention. It's exciting.
So, do you ever get asked to like play roles together? Like, is this the first time you and Devin have been together on a convention? I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah.
As far as like a pony con goes, yeah.
Okay. So okay, so let's just set a scene here, just because I know people are going to ask this, because it's the two of you together. So let's say that Acellus, you just graduated school, okay, and you got through the friendship school and all that as well, and now you just got your first job. What would Thorax say to Acellus getting her first job?
I'm so proud of you. I'd be like, what is your job?
Yeah. I feel like Ocellus.
Subway?
Yeah. Top of the class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ocellus would end up like becoming the teacher. Yeah. She's like, oh, yeah.
I'm teaching the class.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Devin's mic has died, I think, is what someone just said. Is your mic?
Oh, hello.
There she
Uh-oh.
It seems to be
Oh.
Is it good now? Was it dead before? Okay.
Oh.
It was dead before.
So I was just.
Why don't we do that one more time so everyone gets that? Because otherwise it wouldn't go. So Celeste just won her first. She just got her first job.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thanks. I worked so hard. I couldn't have done it without you.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Well, why don't we go back into some script? We'll see what we can get going with this one.
Okay.
So this one is we're going to split it up. So we're going to start off with two people, and then we'll split it into another two after that. So who wants to take Valiant for the first part of this? It could be anyone, and again, it could be anyone's voice. It could be
Sure,
anyone's.
I'll do it.
Okay. So we've got Devin doing Valiant, being Valiant. And, all right, so who wants to be Roger? And again, could be anybody.
I'll be Roger.
Okay.
Looking at
Rebecca's
you.
going to be Roger.
I'm game.
Like I know she's got a good Roger.
Okay. We have one line from the police receptionist. Who wants to be police receptionist?
I do.
Receptionist.
Okay, Britt.
Brett
Brett's
will be
sold it.
police receptionist. Okay.
It's going to Britt.
Okay, so this is a number of scenes after the scene that we just left off from Roger Rabbit. This is now they're in. Valiant is just coming home, and he's had a long day, and he's just coming home to relax. So here we are. Interior, Valiant's house. Day. Eddie comes in the door with his coat over his shoulder. He tosses the jacket over the chair and walks over to the Murphy bed, the kind you pull down. He grabs the strap and, loosening his tie, walks away from the wall, pulling the bed down. What he doesn't see is Roger Rabbit, asleep in the bed. Valiant, still with his back to Roger, sits down exhaustedly on the bed and kicks off his shoes. He lies back and pulls the covers over him. He closes his eyes, rolls over to get comfortable. Now he and Roger are nose to nose. They both open their eyes at the same time. They freak.
Ah!
They both jump out of the bed.
What the shit are you doing here?
I need a place to hide. I'm in trouble, Eddie.
So I hear. Even talking to you could get me a rap for aiding and abetting.
Oh, don't worry, Eddie. No one knows I'm here.
Oh, yeah? Then how'd you find my house?
Well, I asked the newsboy on the corner. He didn't know. Then I asked the janitor, the fireman, a greengrocer down this way. He didn't know. But the cider store man, he knew.
In other words, the whole gosh down world knows you're here. Out! Get out!
Eddie tries to open the door, but Roger blocks it, spider-like, arms and legs extended.
Don't put me out. I didn't do it. I swear.
Valiant gives up trying to open the door and grabs Roger. He pulls and pulls. Finally, Roger snaps off like a broken rubber band. The two of them go tumbling backwards. Valiant makes a grab for Roger, but he slips out of his grasp like Quicksilver.
Sure, I wanted Jessica back, but not that way.
Valiant lunges again. Roger dodges.
After you left, I went to see her at the Ink and Paint Club.
Valiant picks himself up and tries to catch his breath.
She was on stage, so I found a piece of paper and wrote her a love letter.
Roger pulls a piece of paper out of his pocket and starts reading.
Dear Jessica, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. 1 to 1,000. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
Valiant leaps for Roger and gets him by the throat. He rips the paper out of Roger's hand and crumples it up and throws it down. He opens the door, throws Roger outside, and quickly slams the door shut. He leans against it, breathing hard. Suddenly, Roger comes through the mail slot like a limbo dancer. Valiant, too tired to chase him, just watches him.
That wasn't very nice.
He retrieves the love letter, straightens it, and puts it back in his pocket.
It took me almost an hour to compose that, but I decided not to leave it anyway. I'd read it in person. That was my plan.
Valiant crosses to the kitchen area where the darkroom is still set up. He opens the cabinet under the sink and comes out with a bottle of cider. He takes a glass mug and pours himself one.
Look, pal, if you're still here when I finish this drink, I'm calling the police.
Don't do that. I'm innocent, I tell you. I know I won't get any. You know I won't get any justice. They're waiting for me when I get home last night, so I ran.
If you're so innocent, why'd you run?
Gee, Eddie, I'm a rabbit. We always run.
Valiant chugs the drink down and holds up the empty glass.
That's it.
He crosses the phone on the crosses to the phone on the counter. He lifts the receiver and starts to dial.
Well, this is the moment of truth. And I've spoken the truth, but you won't believe the truth. So I guess the truth is my goose is cooked. My hush is slung. My fate is complete.
As Valiant finishes dialing, he idly puts the empty glass mug down on a photograph on the counter.
Won't anything change your mind?
Valiant turns to the pleading rabbit. Now something he sees on the counter gets his attention. The glass mug is resting on one of the reject pictures of Acme and Jessica that he had taken earlier. Sticking out of Marvin Acme's back pocket is a legal folder titled Last Will and Testament. Valiant looks as if the truth has just hit him in the face.
By Celestia, it's the will.
Police department, hello?
Valiant slowly returns the phone to the cradle.
You mean you believe me?
Now outside, we hear tires screeching to a stop. Roger runs to the window and pulls back the drapes. His eyes bug out of his head.
It's the Toon Patrol.
The Toon Patrol wagon has stopped in front of the house. The weasels pile out. One of them takes what looks like a butterfly net out of the back. Several others grab violin cases. Valiant jerks Roger back behind the curtain.
Ugh, get away from that window.
Roger, elated, jumps into Valiant's arms.
You're gonna help me. How can I ever thank you?
He plants a wet tune kiss on Valiant's lips.
For starters, don't ever kiss me again.
And scene. Well done. That was
Okay.
fun. That was very fun. Okay, well, should we try Clue one more time? Should we give it a shot?
Okay, who
All right.
did it?
So,
All right, now we just
it's a lot of
switch
characters again. Who wants to take who?
up.
We could
Okay,
just do.
so we should switch it up, I suppose.
Do you want to do maybe show characters this time? Would that be entertaining? Not really. I don't know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why don't we do some show characters on this one? So, all right. So who does Thorax want to be? I'm thinking Thorax should be Mr. Body, actually, in this one. Yeah. Yeah, actually, that works really well. So that would be Thorax. All right. Who does Acellus want to be?
That's a good question. Maybe
Wadsworth.
Wadsworth? Okay. All right. Wadsworth. That's good, yeah.
All right, so we got Acellus as Wadsworth. Mrs. White, who wants to take her?
There's Mr. Green, too.
Mr. Green, we have Miss Peacock. We have quite a few here.
okay.
Yeah, quite a few characters. I can just randomly start assigning. Britt, who would you like to take?
Okay.
Who do we have left? Sorry.
We have quite a few. Mrs. White, Miss Scarlet, Professor Plum, Mrs. Peacock, Colonel Mustard.
Pretty much everyone.
Okay. Professor Plum,
Professor Plum will be Cadence, I guess.
Cadence,
Okay.
Yvette,
Yvette.
Mr. Green, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so you can just do her however you wish. Actually, well, we'll give you all three of those. How about that? So you've got Professor
Plum,
Mr. Green,
Mr. Green,
and Yvette.
Okay.
Yep. Mr. Green and Yvette don't have a lot of lines, so that should be fine. So we still have Mrs. White and Miss Scarlet. Who wants to take them?
I'll do Miss Scarlet. Maybe I'll try to, by all means, I'm going to butcher it in comparison to her. But let's do a little Pinkie Pie
Okay.
action.
Sounds good. Let's do
Let's
that.
attempt a little Pinkie
Okay,
Pie
so
with Scarlet.
we still have Mrs. White and Mrs. Peacock. Rebecca, who do you want to take?
Well, maybe Mrs. Peacock might be funny as, let's see, maybe Sunset Shimmer will be Mrs. Peacock, and
Okay.
Mrs. White could be
Sugar Bell?
Sure. I like that. Okay, so we'll just go over this quickly. We have Mr. Body is Thorax. Wadsworth is Acellus. Miss White is Sugar Bell. Miss Scarlet is Pinkie Pie. Professor Plum is Cadence. Mrs. Peacock is Sunset Shimmer. Colonel Mustard, ooh, we missed him. Who wants to do Miss Colonel Mustard?
Oh.
So many characters.
I'll do Colonel Mustard as the security guard from one of those Equestria Girls shorts that I can't remember. The one where they did the dance video. I was some kind of security guard.
I love it.
At
All
the
right,
mall.
so
I was a mall security guard.
Mall security. Perfect. Okay, so Colonel Mustard is mall security. We have Mr. Green as Brit, and Yvette is Brit. Whoever you choose to do for them, I suppose.
Alrighty.
All right. So we'll go on to the scene. Let's do this. Yes, we're going to we're going to start in 37. Yeah, so 37.
37,
Interior,
okay.
the study, Wadsworth, makes himself heard above the hubbub.
Ladies and gentlemen, the police have already been invited. They will be here in 45 minutes. Tell them the truth and Mr. Body will be behind bars.
They all stare at him in panic. Then Mr. Body walks to the door.
Where are you going this time?
I think I can help them make up their minds. May I just get my little bag from the hall?
Wadsworth is puzzled and worried. Interior, the hall. Mr. Body emerges from the study and crosses the hall. He picks his case up and returns to the study. Interior, the study. Mr. Body re-enters, leaving the door open. He places his attaché case on the desk, turns to face his victims.
Can anybody guess what's in here?
They look at each other. Non-pulsed?
Nonplussed.
Nonplussed. They're confused.
The evidence against us, no doubt.
Mr. Body smiles, shakes his head, and opens the case. In the case are 6 gift-wrapped parcels. He hands one to each of his 6 guests.
We didn't know we were meeting you tonight. Did you know you were meeting us?
Oh, yes.
What
Mrs.
were you told precisely?
Merely that you were all meeting to discuss our little financial arrangements, and that if I did not appear, Wadsworth would be informing the police about it all. Naturally, I could hardly resist putting in an appearance.
They were all staring at the smug, complacent, loathsome figure of Mr. Body.
Open them.
They look at their presents in their hands. Mr. Body pours himself, or I should call you Thorax. Thorax pours himself a brandy from the decanter, sniffs, maybe he doesn't, sniffs the bouquet and sips it. Miss Scarlet shrugs.
Why not? I enjoy getting presents from strange men.
She carefully removes the ribbon, the wrapping paper, and comes to a cardboard box. Slowly she lifts the lid. Puzzled, she lifts out a heavy brass candlestick. She looks at Mr. Body.
A candlestick? What's this for?
Mr. Body looks around the group.
Nobody else going to open up? Go on, pretend it's Christmas.
Miss White opens her present and finds a rope. Then Colonel Mustard, who gets a wrench. Mr. Green gets a lead pipe. Miss Peacock gets a dagger. And Professor Plum opens his present, and it contains a revolver. They look at their gifts at first in confusion, and as the revolver appears, in horror.
In your hands, you each have a lethal weapon. If you denounce me to the police, you will also be exposed and humiliated. I'll see to that in court.
He is walking around the room, coming face to face with each of them in turn as he speaks.
But if one of you kills Wadsworth now, no one but the 7 of us will ever know.
Wadsworth reacts, appalled, as the others eye him speculatively, weapons at the ready.
He has the key to the front door, which he told me would only be opened over his dead body.
Mr. Body is now face to face with Wadsworth.
I suggest we take him up on that offer.
He crosses to the door of the study and turns to face them all.
The only way to avoid finding yourselves on the front pages is for one of you to kill Wadsworth now.
And standing right beside the door to the study, he switches off the lights. The room, the screen are plunged into blackness. Thuds, gasps, screams, a gunshot, the sound of shattering glass or china, scuffles, groans. The lights are switched on, and Mr. Body lies on the floor, prone, face down. Everyone else is standing where they were, when the lights went out. Camera has a high point of view directly above the center. Okay. They all stare at Mr. Body, then rush towards him.
Is he alive?
Stand back. Give him air. Let me see.
They move
Britt's
back.
mic isn't up. Britt's mic isn't up.
Hello.
Are we good now?
Yeah.
Okay. They move back. Professor Plum gives him a hasty examination. Then he looks up.
He's dead.
There's stunned silence. Miss White.
Who had the gun?
Professor Plum stands up, surprised.
I did.
The gun is now on the floor nearby.
So you shot him?
I didn't.
Well, you had the gun. If you didn't, who did?
Nobody. Look, there's no gunshot wound.
Professor Plum turns Mr. Body over. They all look at his front. He's right. There's no bullet wound.
Somebody tried to grab the gun in the dark, and the gun went off. Look, the bullet broke that vase on the mantel.
Colonel Mustard crosses over to have a look.
He's right, and there's a bullet lodged in the paneling. Here, see?
They all cross to have a look at it.
So how did he die?
They all stare accusingly at Professor Plum.
I don't know. I'm not a forensic expert.
Mrs. White comments on her soft-spoken way,
But one of us must have killed him.
This quiet observation produces a fearful silence. They all look at each other nervously, aware that a murderer is present amongst them.
I didn't do it.
I need a drink.
She puts down the dagger and picks up a brandy goblet that Mr. Body placed on the table near the door, just before the lights went out. She raises it to her lips and sips a little.
Maybe he was poisoned.
Miss Peacock screams and drops the glass. She continues screaming. Hysterically, after some moments of continued screaming, Mr. Green slaps her face. This stops her abruptly. They all look at him. More violence. Is he the murderer?
I had to stop her screaming.
Was the brandy poison?
They all, except for Mrs. Peacock, who is half sitting, half lying on the sofa, hurry over to look at the brandy goblet, but it lies broken on the floor.
Looks like we'll never know.
Unless she dies too.
They all hungrily look over the sofa and hurry over to the sofa and stare at Miss Peacock. She seems all right. From the other room comes a terrible screeching sound. They all freeze and stare at each other in terror. Then, at once, Mr. Green starts screaming too.
Stop screaming, sir! We'll have
screaming.
to call the mall security.
The screaming from the other room is still continuing too. Colonel Mustard grabs Mr. Green by his lapels, then slaps his face.
Why are you screaming?
Because I'm frightened!
What of?
Screaming! There's somebody screaming next door!
And indeed, somebody is still screaming next door. They all rush over together and into the hall. Interior of the hall. The group rushes into the hall. The screaming seems to be coming from the billiard room. It is still continuing. Colonel Mustard tries the handle. The door is locked. He knocks on the door. He rattles the handle, then pounds on the door again.
Open the door.
It must be the murderer. Why would he scream?
What page are we on?
Mrs. White.
42, scene
Yep.
40.
Thank you.
He must have have a victim in there. Oh my God, Yvette!
Oh my God!
They bang on the door again. The screaming stops.
Hello! Yoo-hoo! Open the door!
At this moment, Yvette opens the door and they rush in. Interior billiard room. There is still silence apart from the faint rhythmic clicking sound.
You're alive!
No thanks to you.
She is furious.
What do you mean?
You lock me up with a murderer?
So the murderer is in this room?
Yes. Where? We're all looking at him. Or her. It's what Mrs. White said in the study. One of you is the killer. How do you know she said that?
She indicates the tape recorder. The reel's still turning, and a small piece of tape attached, catching on the reel makes the clicking sound.
I was listening.
Why were you screaming in here all by yourself?
Because I'm frightened! Me too. I also drank the cognac. Mon Dieu. I can't stay in here by myself.
Oh, then come back to the study with us.
With a murderer?
There's safety in numbers, my dear.
She nods. Wadsworth switches off the tape recorder. And scene. That's the one. All right, that one went a little better, I'd say. That was fun.
I think it would be actually a really funny My Little Pony episode if they had like their own version of Clue. Maybe no one gets killed. It could be something more like, something is stolen. Yeah, but that would be
someone broke the
missing
vase.
cupcake.
Yeah, exactly. The missing
yes.
cupcake.
Perfect.
Ate this cupcake.
Yeah.
I think we need to ask Tabitha to make up a script.
Totally. Yeah.
That was really great. Great job, everyone. It's a round of applause from the audience. A virtual round of applause for everyone here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So
Thanks, guys.
I think we'll end it there. But yes, thank you very much, everyone. I'm just going to check the chat real quick to see if there's any burning questions here. But I would say probably not. So one way or the other, just so everyone is aware, we are still doing some virtual meet and greets for both Kyle and for Britt tonight. So if you're interested in getting an autograph and getting to maybe have a Zoom call, personal one-on-one session with them, those are still available for $30 Canadian dollars on our con store, which is vancouver.ca/store. And if you did buy a membership, keep in mind some memberships even come with things like autographs. An autograph is one that they will sign for you in person here today, and then that will get mailed to you. The meet and greet is an autograph that you also get a Zoom call for. So that's the difference between the two, in case there's any confusion on that. Also, there's also some voice recordings available from what I understand. So if that's
We lost your mic.
I lost my mic. Silly batteries. They're known to die occasionally. So yes, if you're interested in getting one of those, please absolutely reach out. We do. I actually haven't checked to see if we sold out or not, but if there are any available, they'll be in the con store, and that's the only chance you'll have to speak to them. Whereas Rebecca and Devin.
Okay.
I almost called you Dalton. Devin. Sorry, Devin. Devin and Rebecca will be doing the exact same thing tomorrow. So if you're looking to speak to them, they will be doing that on Sunday. So anything you guys would like to say as parting remarks? Or
No, thanks for tuning in. That was
Thank you guys
fun.
for having us. That was
great.
so fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Rebecca, for joining us remotely. And it's
That was super fun, you guys.
it was great to have
I'll
you
have
here.
to keep practicing that song now because I messed it up so bad.
No, you
Please.
did great.
That was amazing.
I mean, my
Go back.
my company. I didn't even tune before I started. You're welcome.
Thanks, everybody. We hope you have a great weekend. And please tune in for lots more programming. We have an amazing set of dances coming up tonight. We have some excellent panels coming up. And please enjoy yourself. And if you can, we really appreciate you buying a registration. That helps us support what we're doing here and allows us to come back, hopefully, in person for next year. That is, my goodness, I've said that for 2 years in a row. Please, let's come back in person next year. Anyways, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, guys.